Alright, Ronan MMA, welcome back to the channel. Now I was going to try and refrain from covering Anthony Smith for a little bit here, but the guy can't help himself. Dude's gone from delusional, coping, salty, whichever adjective you want to use, to describe Anthony Smith, to lying, and as overused as this term is, kind of gaslighting the fan base, calling us stupid, and accusing us of only reading the headlines of articles when we talk about the shit that he says about the sport and about other fighters, okay, which is completely and totally factually inaccurate. So what we're going to do is we're going to play that portion from his UFC 301 Media Day interview, and then we are going to pull up the receipts so I can show you guys that Anthony Smith is not telling the truth, intentional or otherwise, and gaslighting. And now, I don't know if this is a case of he is so comfortable in front of the cameras, their, podcast analysis role for ESPN, shit like that, where he forgets the stuff he says on versus off camera, or he forgets that cameras have a function that they're recording, that the stuff that is recorded is going to be uploaded to YouTube for everybody to see, because not a single time have I done a video where I've pulled up the headline of an article to talk about Anthony Smith. I am always, always, always playing his own words back, okay? Also, I think a little bit of what he's doing here, as I said, gaslighting, I think what he's trying to do, so there's this new, horde of fans, okay, that are virtue signaling and, kind of condemning the toxic fan base that are MMA fans, and I feel like they're gonna hear this and say, yeah, everything he says, these guys they don't even hear it, they just talk shit about him no matter what, and what have you. I feel like he's kind of gaslighting to that fan base. So I'm gonna press play, we'll go from there.
I want to ask you this one as well. Why do you think people are so hard on you specifically? Because you see a lot of chatter online of people saying,
right,
Anthony Smith on paper, but I think it's just you being confident in yourself, whereas every other fighter is confident in themselves and is outspoken about it. They get encouraged. But for some reason, you seem to get a lot of flack for it. Why do you think that is?
Now I'm going to say why I think that is. So off the bat, that dude quotes the on paper meme, right? On paper, John Jones really isn't that good. This is, I think, part of the problem the fans have with some of the stuff that Anthony Smith says to build himself up or to be confident, right? Is he's not ever confident without denigrating another fighter, which is not necessarily a bad thing. If you were going to fight a guy, or you think you might fight a guy down the line, right? You don't need to say nice things about him. But then what Anthony Smith does is everything he says bad about a particular fighter, he uses his analytical role as like a scapegoat, where he'll go, oh, well, I had my analyst hat on then. I wasn't talking bad about, I wasn't saying I would beat him and shit like that. And it's like, no, dude, you're talking shit about these guys as if you're another fighter, and then you say this is your analysis, and then your fans that watch the Believe You Me podcast and what have you, the more casual fan base that hears you, are going to take what you say at face value because you are a fighter. So I think that that's what, or at least I think that's some of what the problem is. And as I said, the scapegoat thing, it drives me nuts. He'll say all this shit and then say, well, I was just being analyzing. I'm just being honest, which is not true the vast majority of the time. But either way, we'll go from here.
Well, some of it is the position I put myself in as being an analyst, right? So fans are stupid. They are. You guys write an article and they don't read the article. They just read the headline and they just make up the rest in their head.
Now, I have no idea where this is coming from at all. As I said, every video I've done, and not that I have a big channel, but every video Lucas Tracy does, every video MMA Guru does, every video almost anybody does on Anthony Smith and his delusions bring up his own words. There are so many clips of him saying absolutely mind-numbingly shit, dumb shit, mind-numbingly dumb shit, okay? We don't need the headline of an article, Anthony Smith. Your words are good enough, my guy. I don't understand where he's getting that from, but as I said earlier, I feel like that quote right there from him is like his way of targeting the more casual fan base, maybe the guys that are big fans of his that watch Believe You Me and shit like that, that'll be like, yeah, all the shit these guys say about him is just bullshit. It's just, they read the headline of an article and they just talk shit. But that's not the case, right? That's not the case at all.
If they actually read it, almost everything I say makes a lot of sense. Every once in a while, maybe I have some crazy takes, but it's not that often. And honestly, me and my friends play a game. What kind of crazy shit can I say to see what the fans will say? Then they just play into it. So it is what it is. But they can't separate me as an analyst and me as an athlete.
With all due respect to Anthony Smith, I believe you are the one that has trouble separating those two rules. I feel like what needs to happen is Michael Bisping with his one eye needs to buy Anthony Smith 2 hats. One that says analysis, one that says fighting, and he can put them on while he's podcasting when he's about to take on that role. And then that way, he can't use his analytical role as a scapegoat because of the stupid shit that he said, okay?
So when I'm talking about someone as an analyst, I don't put myself into that. Like, I can talk about Alex Pere all I want. I'm not talking about how it would be with me.
This is exactly what I want to focus on, by the way. Now, I'm going to let it play for a little bit because he goes on to say something very stupid, but this is the point that I want to focus on. I can talk about Alex Pere all day long. I'm not talking about how it would be with me. You are, though, dude. You are. And there's plenty of clips of you doing so. I've done multiple videos on you doing so, and that's what we are going to, that's the receipts we're going to look at. But as I said, I want to let it play a little bit. But this is the main point. I don't understand how either, as I said, dude, he forgets the shit he says on camera because he's on camera so often, because I don't know how you could look at a room full of media and say that when you 1000 fucking % do that on a regular basis. And this is what I mean by conflating his two roles. Right? I'm going to talk shit about Alex Pereira's skill set. I'm going to talk shit about his grappling. I'll say that he's not even that technical of a striker, even though he's probably one of the most technical strikers we have ever seen in the UFC fucking ever. Okay? And then when I get asked about it, I'm going to say, well, I was just giving my honest analysis. Well, okay, dude, if you were, you're not qualified for your fucking job, dude, because that analysis is horrible. But either way,
I'm not even saying I'm better than he is. How I feel about myself personally has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I've said he's a fantastic striker. No lies there. Said he's probably not a great grappler. Does anyone in this room think that he's a black belt grappler? Come on.
This is so disingenuous, dude. Okay. He didn't just say he wasn't that good of a grappler, and he didn't just say he was a fantastic striker. He has praised him for his striking abilities. I will give him that. But in one of the interviews that he did recently, which I did a video on, he talked about how Israel Adesanya is a more technical striker. Alex Pere doesn't really do anything that technical. His leg kick is wrong. No coach would teach you how to do it. The only thing that he has is his left hook. That's essentially what he said, okay? He cannot give a compliment without backhanding you after, okay? As I said at the beginning of this video, he cannot build himself up without denigrating somebody else. And the way that he denigrates people he'll choose things that are so observably fucking retarded that the fans are like, did you actually just say that, dude? If Alex Pere was 5'8" and 145 pounds and he wasn't that hard of a hitter, I would fuck him up, is the kind of shit Anthony Smith says. But I'm going to let it play and then we'll go from there.
Like, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm saying what he's done at this level for as long as he's done it is amazing. DC's loud ass out there said the exact same thing and no one said shit. But as soon as I say it, because I'm still competing, they have a problem with it. And I've just gotten to the point where I don't really care. It doesn't matter. Like, the fighters know that I'm speaking the truth. Because you don't see anybody coming up in hallways trying to fight me about it.
The fighters know that I'm speaking the truth because nobody's came up and tried to fight me. Bro, that is the dumbest way I have ever heard somebody justify the shit that they've said. And he's basically like, I'm right, you're wrong, point blank, period, because nobody has tried to fight me, dude. Alex Pere makes 7 figures when he steps into that octagon. Why the fuck would he jeopardize that to fight you in a hallway over some dumb shit you said? Do you know what I mean? That is such a stupid fucking thing to say. Nobody's tried to fight me, therefore they all know that I'm right. That's what he just said, okay? But as I said, I want to focus on that portion about him speaking about Alex Pere, saying, I'm never talking about how it would be versus me. I'm talking about how I'm just analyzing, right? So we're going to do that right now. This is Anthony Smith with some absolute mongoloid who, as I said in my last video, does this with his microphone and screams into it. And I apologize to your eardrums, but it drives me nuts, okay? You can watch that video if you want a more in-depth breakdown of this interview, but I just wanted to play this portion right here.
If I'm on your back for that amount of time, do you get out of the first round? Probably not. Like, let's just stop all the fucking bullshit. Let's just be honest. If I'm Jan Blachowicz, do I finish in that position? 100% of the time. 100% of the time. Hooks in against the fence, you're belly down, I'm taking home $50,000 extra. That is happening. If Magomed Ankalaev gets...
Now, Anthony Smith, what I would want to ask you is, in this interview, did you have on your analytical cap or did you have on your fighter cap? Because I thought you just said you don't ever say how it would be versus you, right? But then he goes on to say in this interview about a week ago, I would finish you in that position. He objectively does what he looked in the media's face and said he doesn't do. And I'm sick of these fucking media members who get to ask these questions absolutely sucking off these fighters, refusing to say anything critical or negative or push back even a little bit because they don't want to come off as disrespecting a fighter. With all due respect, okay? Not really though. With all due respect, why should I have an extra amount of respect for you because of the job you've chosen? Like, I don't understand that at all, dude. You've decided to fight in a cage for your money. Therefore, I have to have this ultimate, like, ungodly amount of respect for you. And I can't say things that are critical or negative or push back on the stupid shit you say. Do you know what I mean? He just said to the media, I just played it for you. He doesn't compare himself. He doesn't say how he would do. Yet in this interview, he says that if he was in the same position Jan Blachowicz was, he would strangle him and he would take home a $50,000 bonus for performance of the night. Okay? Later on in this interview, they go on to talk about his striking. I'm going to jump and hope I land on the correct part.
I wasn't in that one. It's funny. I played Bisping and we talked about that. It wasn't, Brock Lesnar again complaining about that car.
Not at all. It's,
by the way, that's what I was talking about. That dude screams into his microphone.
In relation to that, it's about as wrong as you can get.
There it is.
Pundit, analyst, and Muay Thai practitioner, and the correct in the way that will teach you to throw a leg kick like that. The leg kick, no one will teach you to throw a very calculable
striker.
I apologize for that. Okay, little clunky. I don't want to edit it. It will increase the file size. Let's continue, dude.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that completely. I think he has parts of his game that are very, very calculated and technical. Like, he might have the most effective, technically correct left hook I've ever seen in MMA.
Yeah.
But like, his leg kick, no one will teach you to throw a leg kick like that. Nobody. Not a fucking striking coach on the planet will teach you to throw a leg kick like that. Does it mean?
Well, his striking coach did, but either way,
it's not good? No. Is it technically correct in the way that every coach, pundit, analyst, and Muay Thai practitioner or Muay Thai and kickboxing practitioner on the planet would teach it? No, not at all. It's in relation to that, it's about as wrong as you can get. But it's effective and it works for him and he lands it every single time. So I understand what Matt said. But
now, this is what I'm talking about, dude. He will jump back and forth, camouflage, scapegoat his analytical role. Here, that was an analytical response, okay? Whether or not it was correct or not, because I don't think it was correct, but either way. He went from, I would strangle him, okay? Take home a bonus, to just doing analysis, right? He conflates the two. But he also said that he never compares himself. He never says how he would do, right? But then he goes and says what he would do in the position that Jan Blachowicz was in. And here we go. Anthony Smith, okay, Submission Radio, gets asked about Alex Pere, and what does he have to say?
I'm one of the few guys probably that would really, I don't know, I would step in the fire with him, and he knows that, like, his Uncle Life going to stand in the pocket and trade with Alex Pereira and really play that game? Probably not. You know what I mean? Which is probably the worst matchup in the division for not just Pereira.
Again, how would he do? He would go stand in the pocket with him because he's not afraid of Alex Pere. Now, this isn't even something bad that he said. It's stupid and delusional because you would end up with your eyes rolled back in your fucking skull and the back of your head maybe smashing on the canvas, right, Anthony Smith? But as I showed in this interview, I don't ever say how I would do against him.
Better than he is. So when I'm talking about someone as an analyst, I don't put myself into that. Like, I can talk about Alex Pereira all I want. I'm not talking about how it would be with me. I'm not even saying I'm better than he is.
No, you're not. You're just saying that you would have strangled him and taken home $50,000, Anthony Smith, okay? But we're stupid and we only read the headlines of articles, right? That's what happens. Absolutely and totally, completely fucking delusional. And as a matter of fact, look, whether or not you want to call it a lie, because maybe your definition of a lie is like there has to be some intent there. You have to knowingly say something that is incorrect or untrue or what have you. But to sit there and say to the media that you don't ever put yourself into the analysis that you're doing is wrong and a lie. And what you did is you just denigrated the fans to, as I said earlier, dude, build yourself the fuck up, okay? It's wild to me. I don't understand why this guy doesn't just own it and go full heel. Yeah, I say fucking crazy shit. Fuck you. I'll do what I want. But he has to pretend to have some like level of professionalism and politeness because he has to do his job that is not fighting. But it's just wild to me, dude. Anyways, this has been Anthony Smith not telling the truth at the very least, possibly lying, or just not remembering that everything he fucking says is basically in front of a camera, okay? And me showing you that he was incorrect, not telling the truth, and what have you. Like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you at the next video. Bye-bye.